these target bows.
Right.
And I'm not the only person who does this, but this one I developed by myself, the techniques. And so this is a light target bow, 30 pounds, which I made. We call this a long bow because it's tall. And this shoots very fast, and you can hit a target up to 100 yards with this bow. So here's how I make this bow. I cut this wood in the woods. You have to find somebody who has this wood. This is a very special wood. It's called Osage orange, and it grows all around Houston, but this bow can be made out of any kind of wood if it's a bow wood. Right. So in Taiwan, there's probably recognized woods that are for making bows, and you use that kind of wood. Right. And use the same rules you do for making other bows. Don't have knots in them, don't have holes. The grain has to run long and smooth. Right. And it can't be damaged, have bad places. It has to be perfect wood. So I search these pieces until I find what I want. See, I keep them bundled. This one says 320. So a year and 4 months ago, I collected this from the forest. I cut these from the heart and then dried them. You can't use wood from the lumber store because it's been heat dried. You want wood that's air dried. See, it just dries in the corner of my shop. Right. For the first 6 months, it lays on the floor because it's cold and it's wetter on the floor. You don't want to hurry the process. You want to make the process very slow. And the ends are painted with glue to seal it because the sap will pour out here. You don't want it to pour out of the end. You want it to seep out from the face very slowly. So these are all pieces that could make a bow. See, things like this is no good, but you work around things like that. Right. And the problem with the wood from the forest is it's not perfect. The bow can be perfect, but the material is not perfect. So you have to work with that. So then I searched through all these pieces. You have to have a target of what it is you're making. So in this case, you see, I want to make a bow for a young person. I want to make it a 25-pound draw bow. The desired strength of this bow will be 25 pounds. Okay. And this is the kind of nomenclature they use. They say pounds, not kilos, because the archery world is sort of just that way. That's what they choose. And I turned this all into metric, the lengths for you, so you could understand it very easily. Okay. So I would say for a young person, see, he's going to shoot a short arrow. Right. Let's say the arrow is 66 centimeters. Yes. So the bow length is 2.2 times the arrow length, which arrow length is a draw length. And this is because you want the bow to be very stressed, but you don't want it to break. Yeah. If you make it 2 times the arrow length, it could break. But if you make it 2.2 times the arrow length, it'll make a very strong bow, but not break. See, when you shoot the bow, you want to pull it back. And let's say this bow at 26 inches is okay, but if you pull it 28 inches, it will break. So you want to take it up 90% of its breaking strength, and then it'll really throw an arrow good. That's why the bow is made for one person only. It's like a shirt or a custom suit. It fits only one person. And if you have an adult shoot a child's bow, he'll break it because he'll pull it back too far. A lot of people don't understand that this is not a fiberglass bow. This is a wood bow. Right. So you cannot pull it back too far. And so at any rate, 2.2 times the arrow length is 2 times 2 times 66 is 145 centimeters. So we're trying to make a 145 centimeter bow at 25 pounds. Okay, all these are bone limbs. A limb is like an arm or a leg. We say arm. And the way the wood is oriented, you see, you look down the end, you see it has, this was the outside of the tree.
Right.
So the best way to do it is to put this side against the bamboo. That's the best, with the bamboo up here. This way would also be okay. And if you put it sideways, that will be okay. Just don't mix the two.
Okay.
Have them both the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The upper and the lower, make them the same. Okay, here's my wood. Osage orange, Malclura palifera, pomifera, and the bamboo we're going to use, my first choice would be Madake, Philostachys bambusides. The number 2 choice would be Philostachys edulis. And I only use those 2 kinds of bamboo. If you have another kind of bamboo, you can use it. But let me tell you, experimentation in bow making is a very painful experience. It goes on and on and on, and you may as well do what other people have already done, which is successful, and not go through all that personal, experience. Americans don't like to take advice from people, and so they start out and say, "Well, can I do it this way? Can I do it that way?" No, you know what I mean? I'm teaching you. First, you learn how to do it the way I'm teaching you, and then break away. The problem is, by the time you finish experimenting, you won't have any energy left to go and make a good bow with. You'll have wasted all your energy experimenting. Don't experiment until you know what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I'm going to show you how to put these 2 together. These are both scraps. So, anyway, let's just say this is the upper, and we'll cut it down, and this one's the lower.
Right.
Okay. So, here's how we're going to go. First, you need a center line down the middle. You don't have to measure, just put the line exactly in the center. Philostachys bambusides.
Right.
Number 1. Number 1. That's what the Japanese use. Number 2. Philostachys edulis. Number 2 choice. So, you know what I mean?
So Japan had this kind of bamboo.
They have both.
Oh.
They have both. But the preferred is Philostachys bambusides. Number 1.
Right.
Madake. This one, Moso. So they're both very large bamboos. They go to yards where there's hundreds of them, and they have these ideas in their brains. They're different than ours, you know what I mean? The Japanese has to be odd number. 3, 5, 7, 9, the nodes. This one would not be lucky bow because it has 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
This would be unlucky to Japanese. But it doesn't, I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care. I try sometimes to put odd, you know, 3, 5, 7, or 9 nodes, but it's not as important. What's important is the quality of the bamboo. You know, that's a superstition. Okay, let me get a ladder.